YouTube world. I'm here with old and dear friend of mine, Mr. John Hines.
Thank you, Bryan.
I want to thank you for being here, man. I really wanted to interview him for YouTube because this is one of the few people who could roll with me and be my road dog when I started. Very few people had the tenacity and drive that I had, and John matched it, if not probably had more. And he was actually working another full-time career, and you started part-time around the same time that I did at Century 21.
Correct.
Right? And now you're doing really well. You know, every time you text me, you're like, dude, I got another 2 listings and this and that. Now you're on track this year to do roughly, you would say, around 200,000 GCI?
A little bit less.
A little bit less, okay.
Yeah.
And primarily from door knocking.
Door knocking, correct.
Wow, okay. Now, I specifically wanted to interview you about that because there's still so many people that think cold calling and door knocking is a thing of the past.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work. It's not effective. Nobody wants to be bothered at the door. So I'm just going to ask you a couple questions about it, man, because I think you'll have a unique insight for people. You've been doing it a long time, alongside me. And so one of the biggest myths that I get, and I'm going to ask you this first, is nobody answers and everybody's going to be mean if I knock on the door. So how has your experience been in regards to those 2 things since you started?
Number one, people do answer the door. And yes, you're going to have people that are mean. People are going to slam the door in your face, get the F out of here, don't get off my property, I'm calling the cops. I've had it all. But honestly, you just got to keep on going. It's like, okay, have a nice day. Here's my card, don't forget it. I'll still be kind to them. I believe in kill it with kindness, and they'll just kind of back off a little bit.
Right.
But they will be mean. But there's very nice people out there. I've had people on 100-degree weather give me water. The other night, I was door knocking around my listing, and the guy gave me water. He was an agent actually around the corner of my listing. But
Wow,
he was cool, very supportive. It's like, here, have some water. So
there's actually nice real estate agents out there?
Oh yeah.
Cool. Cool.
Funny thing, when you find real estate agents at 12 noon wearing their pajamas opening the door, that's really funny. But that's another story.
That's funny, dude. So could you walk us through, maybe not like a hardcore day, but it's like a typical day as far as when you wake up, when you schedule your door knocking, and what that day looks like? Because for some reason people act as if knocking doors every day is impossible and oh my god, it's so hard and this and that. Could you walk us through a typical day for John Hines as far as door knocking and real estate and what it looks like?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I mean, I start my day early because I have 11-year-old. I got to get him ready and then take him to school. And then when I drop him off, that's pretty much when I start my day.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll go to the office around 8 o'clock. I'll, check a few things, and then around 9, that's when I start my door knocking.
Okay.
Around 9 o'clock. As Bryan mentioned earlier, he's probably the only person, honestly, that can stay with me or I stay with him. We could go 4 or 5 hours straight and not have a problem. I've had one agent, and there's been several agents that have tried to work with me with door knocking, and it's not for everybody, trust me. Just recently, a couple months ago, I had a guy, we were door knocking for about 3 months straight in Whittier, and we covered a ton of ground. We would go 4 or 5 hours straight, literally. But he went into the investment side, which I respect. He's doing flipping and all that. So, but a typical day is, from 9 to noon, I'll do my door knocking. Now that I have a few listings here, I'm door knocking around those listings instead, and getting quite a bit of activity. And then in the afternoons, I do my follow up. And then probably do a little bit of cold calling in the evening since it's getting darker a little earlier. I'll do some circle prospecting on the phone.
So if you were to maybe put a percentage on the activity you've gotten and what you're actively doing as far as prospecting, is the majority of it the door knocking, you would say?
The majority is door knocking, but door knocking is not like right now business. Most of it is nurturing. If they just tell me a little bit that they want to sell within the next couple of years, I'm gonna, I'll write it down. Oh, okay, great. Where do you plan on moving to? I'll make the conversation, and then I'll go, okay, can I have your name? I'll get their name down, and I go straight for the email address. And then when I'm writing it down, while I'm writing it down, I'll say, hey, can I have your phone number as well? And then most of the time they do give it to me, which is not an issue.
And it goes, I think, back to the sales principle is the second sale is easier than the first. So once you get them to comply, then the second request of you getting the number is easier.
Correct.
Right? There we go.
Yeah.
That's a good idea for everybody.
Exactly.
That's one of the most common questions I get is, well, if they're interested, how do I get their number, right? And you're very, I would assume, because I've heard you and been with you, you're assumptive. You're not like, please, can I have your number? It's like, cool, let me get your number.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So your delivery of it, of course, is 100% one of the most important things.
Right.
So, moving along, you brought up a huge point, dude. Nurturing and the follow-up. Everyone
Yeah.
thinks it's, oh, hey, John, you're here. I want to list my house. I'll pay you 8%.
That happened before, remember?
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
one of
yeah.
our first ones we had, I was door knocking. It was a corner house, and she was actually emptying the place. And she told me that, her mother passed away and she needs to sell, but she's not going to do it for a while. I'm literally walking down the street, probably 10 houses down. She's coming down with her truck saying, John, I want to list next week. Hey, Bryan, come on, let's do this.
That's the one that I remember telling everybody they got caught up for a year because they got lawyers involved.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
Because the sisters, we listed it at what, 400 or whatever, but then
Yeah.
the sister didn't want to do it and it went into court.
Yeah.
So, but a year later we sold it anyway.
Yeah,
so.
right. And that's a story I've told people. I might have said it maybe on Instagram, but I let people know that listing because we were about to close, and then the brother was like, "I'm not leaving," and then lawyers got involved, and it got crazy, right? Which that's why I always tell people never count on your closings until you get your check.
Correct.
Right. So going back to the nurturing part, do you have? I'll ask you two questions, man. Number one, is there maybe you can see a pattern, like most of the leads that you get are converting within 3 months, 6 months, a year? And secondly, what does that follow-up process look like for you? Because most people, that's where they get confused. They're afraid of calling too much, or I don't want to offend them, you know?
Anywhere between 3 and 6 months.
On average?
The conversion, yeah.
Okay.
There are some just recently, 2 years, but you have to follow up, make phone calls, texts. I know I have a productivity coach, and he's really getting on me, making sure that I, schedule things and this and that. And I'm old school. I just put it on paper. I mean, I don't do anything foo-foo or anything like that. I do have Line Desk. I finally put all my leads in Line Desk, so they're getting on drip campaigns. And from what I'm hearing, people like it. So I just talked to somebody yesterday for my follow-up, and she's thinking of selling probably within a year.
Cool. So what I'm hearing is, just like myself and my team, you can still improve a lot of stuff. But you're still doing really well, because the average realtor is doing 3-4 deals a year, so they're not doing well. And you're primarily from something that is frowned upon, door knocking, or it's this big scary monster. You're doing all this, so I think that's great because you've been in the business like me about 5 years, roughly.
I started in 2011 part time.
Okay, a little bit longer than me, and we're not perfect, yet we're still getting all these deals, right? So I know I'm going to get the question, I'll probably get it in the comment section, well, as far as the follow-up, how do we not upset somebody? What's too much? What's too little? Do you have maybe a mindset you have a follow-up, or do you have an exact sequence that you follow when it comes to these leads?
I don't even think about what they're going to say. I just call and do it, that's all. Hey, how's it going? Have you thought about something? I mean, we're like at 6 months now, I'll just keep calling, and I'll make conversation and just build that relationship and trust.
Cool.
And then eventually they're gonna turn around eventually.
Yeah, and I think the improper mindset is we're calling and being of service, and everyone's scared, like, well, I feel like I'm a vulture and I'm taking their time. We're not. We're just, hey, are you ready?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. I'm sure they might ask you, hey, can you send me a CMA every once in a while? They might ask for something, and it's not a big deal.
Right.
Why do you think so many people are scared to follow up then? Because it seems like I do it, my team does it, and by the way, you can't see, there's like 4 of them right here sitting, staring at us awkwardly.
They're all laughing.
And you do it, just impulse. Okay, let's call.
Yeah.
Why do you think so many people are afraid to do it?
It's probably fear of the unknown. I really don't know, to be honest with you. I mean, with me personally, I just go out and do it. There's days, and don't get me wrong, there are days where, gosh, I don't want to do this, I'd rather just kick back, but you got to do it. I got to pay the bills.
Of course, yeah. So what was it like? Because you actually had a pretty high, compared to most people, salary job. You were making, what, 70, 80,000 a year? 80, wow. So what was that like? What was the light bulb that made you say, okay, I'm jumping ship? Because I was there throughout that whole process. I remember us talking a lot. And then finally you're like, okay, I'm leaving Albertsons and I'm going full time. And now this is going to be pretty much your first year away from Albertsons. And you're already on track to make...
October will be my first year.
Yeah, on track to make over twice what you made before.
Correct.
Which is door knocking. Right?
Yeah.
And I remember hearing stories about, man, the job and this guy's negative and this and that. So was there like a particular light bulb moment that you're like, I'm doing it?
Yeah, I think when I started getting called to the corporate office, I'll say it, I don't care, I don't work there anymore. I was called to corporate office because I was selling real estate on the side, and just people, there were a lot of haters.
Yeah.
A lot of haters. And, I think 2 years ago it was like, this is it. Enough is enough. I can't do this anymore. So I started the whole process by stepping down. I did that for 6 months. And then last October I said, enough is enough. So I left.
Wow. That's interesting, man. And a lot of people are afraid to make that jump. I remember David would always tell you, leap of faith, leap of faith.
Leap of faith, and that's
Yeah,
what I did.
yeah.
I took the leap of faith and I
Yeah.
did it, and so far so good.
Yeah. And I find it interesting that, because that's a lot of questions I get is, well, I get so many haters, right? I want to start in real estate, people are hating. Even though you had the classic salary
Yeah.
job, people were still hating on you,
Oh, yeah.
and your environment was negative, right?
Exactly.
Was there any difficulty for you to break out of that?
No, I just ignored it. And when
Yeah.
I was there, it bothered me like crazy. But then towards the end, I'm like, you know what? I got to do what I got to do. And
Right.
everybody that I've used to work with are complimenting me. They follow me on Facebook.
Right.
They're, actually, I'm getting some leads off of Facebook. People from
Wow.
Albertsons are actually calling me. Hey, can you help me buy a house? Or can
Yeah.
you help me sell this house? So it's actually very beneficial what I'm doing, and I'm helping people.
Awesome, dude. Now, shifting back to the door knocking, when you go out, let's say you're like, okay, I'm going to door knock 9 to 12. Is there a minimum requirement you have as far as doors or contacts or leads before you pack it up? What does that look like?
Minimum contacts for me is 20.
20. Okay.
Okay, because you never know if one day you may not have anybody there, or one day you'll have a whole bunch of people at home. You just got to go out and do it. And minimum is 20, but I usually get about average 30
Okay.
contacts.
Yes. That sounds about right, because they say you get 8 to 12 contacts an hour. So 30 is pretty much right on line. From what I remember me doing it, when we were doing it a lot, it was about 10 an hour.
Yeah.
Because like one mistake that I see people do is they're messing around on their phone. They take too long to walk between the houses. Like when you knock, if somebody doesn't come to the door, how long do you wait before you're on to the next house?
You know what? I don't wait that long anymore. I used to wait like a while, just I hear something in there, but not anymore. I
Yeah,
just
right.
I'll knock, maybe wait about a minute or so, and then I'll take off.
Okay,
I'll
cool.
put my card on the door.
Exactly. So you leave something.
Correct.
Right.
I just have a business card and a notepad. That's all I have.
Of course. Now, that's another question that I was going to ask you, that people freak out. They spend a week getting a flyer ready to go door knock. Do people even read the material?
No. I used to do that. I was like, oh, I'm going to do this flyer. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But you know what? Just put your business card out there. Just take
Yeah.
a notepad, write it down, and that's it.
Okay, cool.
Move on.
I like that, dude, because I think we get caught up with the apps. I get that message all the time.
Uh-huh.
What's the app you're using for door knocking? I'm like, dude, I just, I remember taking a notepad with you, and every time we would knock a door, I would put a line on the paper.
Yeah.
And when they answered, I would circle it.
Mhm.
So at the end, I had 100 lines, and I would count the circles to see how many contacts I made.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Or I would have a stack of business cards here for contacts,
Mhm.
right? And then the stack here was for when I left them and they weren't home.
Right, that's what he used to do. Stack of cards, and he
Yeah.
knew exactly how many contacts or doors we were
Yeah,
knocking.
so I know if I have 30 and I handed them out, boom, we did 30 contacts, right? And it's really simple, and I think people tend to overcomplicate it because they're scared,
Yeah.
right? So let's rewind. When you started, you mentioned it's a nurture game,
Yeah.
right, which is key. How long from initial first time you went out door knocking to now starting to get a rhythm with deals? Was it a long time? Was it a couple months? What did that look like?
It took a while, only because I had to be consistent.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's the critical
Yeah.
game here. You have to be consistent.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a top producer or what have you. I'm getting to that point. But you got to be consistent. You got to go for it, and don't give up. You're going to have bad days, you will. But you just got to keep nurturing, keep following up, and then it'll pay off in the long run.
So when the switch was made from I'm now full time in real estate, is when you saw that momentum come, huh? Because
Oh,
you
yeah.
could be hammer it and go consistent, right? Because I noticed the messages you sent, like, man, this guy's killing it, right? And
Yeah.
and I'm like, dude, he's just door knocking too. Like he's
Yeah.
not, you're not doing Facebook marketing or mailers. You're literally just rolling your sleeves up and getting out there and knocking doors.
Yeah.
Which again, a lot of people tell me it's not that easy. There's no way you knock on somebody's door and they say yes, right? And same thing with the calling. Kevin right here, he's the one who set that appointment for that $4 million home
Right.
in Newport. This
Yeah,
guy.
beautiful.
Yeah, less than a year.
Thanks.
Right? So, going back to the door knocking, real quick, when you started zooming in on it more, did you ever pick out FSBOs, expireds, NODs, or is
Never.
it just?
Never. It was
Yeah.
just regular doors.
Yeah. So
And
now,
I should. Okay, I should. I think we did expireds like on New Year's Day.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
started going out. We had a couple leads, I think.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that one year I went with you, we actually got that La Puente listing, and then
Yeah.
another one too, and then the third one, they kind of flaked. But
Correct.
that was just from one day.
Yeah.
We went from 8 to noon.
Yeah.
We literally didn't knock any other doors. We went to
Straight for the expireds.
and we set, I think we had only 8 or 9 contacts, but I set 3 or 4 appointments with you.
Mm-hmm.
I went on 2, got them, and then the third one, because I know you were working, you couldn't go with me.
It was so hard.
I got 2, and then the third one flaked. So
Yeah.
2 listings from 9 contacts
Correct.
on New Year's Day, right?
And it works.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because, again, we can always make improvements. So he's doing these deals and making this money from random doors,
Yeah.
or, the city of Whittier in California, if you're not from California, he wants to work that area, so he's door knocking there, and that city's huge,
Yeah.
right? Like, you have Friendly Hills, you have the east side next to La Habra, you have the south side, you have a huge...
And the west side.
Yeah, you have a huge area. So if let's say somebody's watching here who's never door knocked and they're like, okay, I'm sold, John sold me on door knocking, what would be like the 1 or 2 things you would tell them just to prepare and then implement?
Number one, just do it. Don't overthink it. A lot of people drive different cities or work, they'll drive their car, oh, I'm going to start here, I'm going to start there, or they'll look on their phone, oh, where's all the activity? You know what, just pick a spot, get out of the car, and just start door knocking. That's it. Count how many doors, how many contacts you have. If you get leads, write it down, put your name, email, address, whatever, and then just start following up with these people because they will turn around, period.
Okay, now I'm going to start giving you stories and excuses people give me. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
But John, how am I just going to door knock a random door? I didn't do any research beforehand. What am I going to tell them?
Oh, it's simple. You just, talk to them like regular people. Hey, you know what? We just sold a couple properties in the area. Are you thinking of selling? Have you thought about selling in the near future?
Okay, so it's that simple.
It's that simple.
Okay, cool. What if they don't give me the number? Do you go back and follow up?
I go back, I'll take their address down, and then I'll go back and follow up with them.
Okay.
If they showed some type of interest in wanting to sell their property in a year or 2 or 6 months or whatever, I will take their address down, I'll have it in my notes, and then I will go back and follow up. I have a lot of people like that.
Yeah.
Especially in Whittier, I got a guy, he's going to move to Arizona in a few months. He never gave me his phone number, but I've been following up with him.
And that's...
I just saw him like 3 weeks ago.
That's your core market area.
Yeah.
So it's okay. He lives there anyway.
Yeah.
What does it take you to drive 2 minutes to somebody's house and knock on their door?
Exactly.
It's more just, for other people who lack the courage, it's more just courage than anything.
Right.
So what would you tell people who are getting started? What do you think a minimum commitment would be for days and amount of doors a day, you think, for them?
I would do minimum 3 days a week, 3 hours a day.
Okay.
Minimum.
Okay.
If you're just starting, if you want to get your feet wet. But you know what? The more you do it, the more contacts you get. It's a numbers game. The more deals you're going to get, period.
Another excuse is but it's too hot. How are we going to door knock?
Go in the evening or take some water. I mean, there's nice people out there. I was offered water the other day. It was 90 degrees. And it was a realtor too, so.
Which is a surprise to me, a realtor actually helping another realtor out. Whoa,
Yeah.
Mind blown. But we can wrap it up, dude. I appreciate this because, we get so many people who still have been watching me for years, man, and they still haven't done it. They're like, oh, I'm still gathering up the courage to do it. I'm like, dude, just go out there and do it. Like,
that's it. Don't make it hard. Keep it simple and just do it. That's it. Just keep it simple.
Now, if anybody wants to reach out and talk to you personally, how would you want them to contact you? Facebook, Instagram?
I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and I'm on LinkedIn. If you want to reach out to me, I'm John Hines. Number is 310-941-8216. If you have any questions, just feel free to text me, email me, or just message me through Facebook. I've known this guy for, since 2012, I think, right?
Yeah, since I started the courses before I got licensed, yeah.
Yeah. This guy's a hard worker, and everything he's telling you guys is true, because I follow you guys on YouTube and all that other fun stuff. So
awesome, dude. Appreciate it.
And the team's watching me over here, so I gotta.
Thanks, dude. Yeah. So definitely reach out to John. Cool dude. Again, one of the few people who can actually hang when it comes to door knocking, and we actually talk a lot about that. We're like, man, everyone else will do it for 2 days and quit, or they come out 1 day a week instead of 5, and
And I was working with another agent just a few months ago, and him and I were actually doing it consistently for four hours a day, 5 days a week. But he went into the investing side, so.
Yeah.
But he was a door knocker, and if I had my phone on me, he'd actually call me out on it. Hey, John, put your phone away.
Yeah.
So it's those little things, accountability, that really will hold true. So
last question: what do you think the number one mistake is that people make when they go out to door knock?
they're not consistent,
Okay.
and they won't continue.
So we hear a recurring theme: consistency. You hear it all the time. There's no special script. There's no special look, right? Because we didn't look fancy. We didn't have a special script. We just did it every fucking day, over and over and over and over.
I didn't wear a tie. I didn't wear a suit or anything like that. And I know some offices are like that. No, I just dressed the way I'm dressed right now.
Yeah, he had the dress pants on and the polo and
That's
the
it.
little name tag, right?
Yeah, that's all you need.
Yeah.
All you need.
Cool. All right, dude. Appreciate
Okay.
it, John. Thank
Hey,
you, man.
Thank you.